agreement between Skelec and Leclanche, a Switzerland-based solar energy and storage company, seems to be ready to proceed with the 15th June ceremony on site at the location in the Bastia Valley near the Kim Collins Highway. According to officials of Skelec, the solar energy producing and storage facility, when completed, will be the largest of its kind in the Caribbean. Brian Urban, the executive vice president of Leclanche, said the plant will have 35 megawatts of capacity.
And storage project. That means it has about 35 megawatts of solar capacity. And it's the most highest quality solar panels that we'll install. It's one of those that will be representative of a longevity of 20 to 25 years. We signed a contract with Skelec for 20 years plus, and our objective here is to be partners with them for that duration. This is a project that will represent over 30% of the power of the island. A huge step for the infrastructure of Skelec as a utility and of St. Kitts overall. At times during the day when the sun is bright, we will represent close to 90% of the power being generated for the island. And that will be a landmark to not only reduce carbon emissions, but also to keep a stable and consistent source of power. This project was established for 20 years to keep a very consistent and common cost to the power. It's not subject to the variations of the wild variations that we're facing like today with diesel costs and other petrochemicals. It's a stable and consistent source utilizing sustainable resource in the sun.
Eugene Hamilton, current minister with responsibility for energy, reminded the audience of the legislative framework that was set up to facilitate the country's transition to increasing amounts of energy derived from renewable sources. He expressed belief that the project will be significant to the consumers of St. Kitts.
Let us look at this project from the perspective of the four pillars. The four pillars which have been settled in our energy policy. Our residents already have access to energy. There is electricity connection near each house in our federation, in St. Kitts in particular. And fuel for the transportation and cooking are also readily available. However, in terms of the energy security, most of our energy is imported. This, of course, exposes us to the vagaries of natural and man-made disasters, to geopolitical interference, and price fluctuations, among other things. We kick off today, but when this farm is commissioned, we look back with much pride knowing that 30% of our energy needs come from this source, driven by nature. We look back knowing that we are insulated from external shocks. We look back knowing, and then look forward also knowing, that our energy supply is more secure.
The project, to be run by Solec Power Limited, originally was announced August 2019 and is expected to provide between 30% and 35% of the island's baseline energy while reducing the country's carbon footprint. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
St. Kitts Nevis Ambassador to the United States, Her Excellency Dr. Thelma Philip Brown, disclosed that partnerships have been established to effect the seamless rollout of the Universal Healthcare Program by the first quarter of 2023. She was addressing the 9th Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles recently.
In the area of health and resilience, partnerships with the Social Security Board, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the Ministry of Sustainable Development, and the Pan American Health Organization, among others, have been established in order to effect the seamless rollout of the Universal Healthcare Program by the first quarter of 2023. Cognizant that 75% of infectious diseases are traceable to the increasing interface between man and the animal and plant environment, we are also committed to the implementation of the IHR 2005 and the One Health approach to the pursuit of global health security.
The ambassador also addressed matters pertaining to food security, digital transformation, and vulnerabilities affecting small island developing states.
My country views the development of the agriculture systems and sector as foundational to resilience and is acting in line with CARICOM and through AICA to invest in food and nutrition security. We posit that food security is an area replete with low-hanging fruit and is ripe for inter-American cooperation. The digital transformation strategy of St. Kitts and Nevis was launched in 2019 to make doing business with government more efficient. We are very pleased that the political commitment on digital transformation aligns with government's plans for transforming the Federation into a digital economy. We believe special emphasis should be placed on the vulnerability of small island developing states as it relates to our telecommunications and infrastructure in general, considering our exposure to climatic and external shocks. We therefore call for the appropriate resources, financial, technical, and human, to be mobilized to assist SAIDS. We anticipate this will be done in consultation and partnership with major tech firms across the hemisphere, paving the way for coherence, complementarity, and public-private partnerships, a key ingredient for building resilience and sustainability.
Ambassador Philip Brown said St. Kitts and Nevis continues to pursue the promotion of democratic governance, pointing out that the Integrity in Public Life Act was passed in 2013 and came into effect on the 11th of July 2018. However, the Integrity Commission, which the Act governs, has not been fully operational, as there are certain regulations still to be enacted. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
Nevis Dental Clinic on Thursday morning made its annual donation to the flamboyant nursing home at the Alexandra Hospital in Nevis. Dr. Ravi Chinnaswamy of the Nevis Dental Clinic spoke about the donation.
On behalf of Nevis Dental Clinic, Main Street, Charlestown, we would like to donate the following items to the Flamboyant Home. It's our annual thing, so we're continuing to support Flamboyant Home. We have some thermometers, some stethoscopes, blood pressure monitors, Pampers, wipes, and other essentials that the Flamboyant Home would make use of. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Nurse Donna Hanley of the Flamboyant Home expressed gratitude for the donation.
I must say that we here at Flamboyant, we are receiving gifts and tidings in June. On behalf of the Ministry of Health, Alexandra Hospital and Flamboyant, I would like to say a hearty thank you to Dr. Ravi and the Nevis Dental Clinic for his kind gesture. For years now, he has been donating valuable gifts to us. We are in the habit of utilizing them well, and I would like to say thank you again, and we can sure use these items. Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Thank you.
The donation is made by the clinic to the home on Nevis each year, as well as the St. Kitts counterpart. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Leader of the People's Action Movement, while rallying for Constituency 4 candidate, urged voters to choose wisely in the upcoming general elections that are due before 9th August 2022. Which has told listeners that PAM and CCM represent the real unity committed to the development of the people and the country, indicating that a PAM-CCM coalition government was about securing the future of St. Kitts and Nevis.
On election day, I urge you once again to choose representatives with proven track records. Choose representatives whose agendas are people-centered. Choose representatives who understand, like, and identify with you, the people. Representatives who understand development, both large and small, and the possibilities that development brings. Elections are about choice. Make the right choice in this constituency. Support Lindsey Grant in this constituency. Support PAM and CCM. Support the real unity movement. Secure the gains. Support your today. Support the services that you want to guarantee for your tomorrow.
The upcoming elections will have three major parties, PAM, SKNLP and PLP on St. Kitts, while on Nevis, the NRP and CCM will contend for federal seats. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
Are you ready to create high-performing TV commercials?
Ready.
Ready. Ready. Create and tell compelling stories. Reach your target audience. And build brand awareness. Our strategies and execution will provide for your desired outcome and clearly represent your brand. Visit us at www.madebyopen.com and get started on your creative video commercial today. Lights, camera, Open Interactive.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastille, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
Can you believe all the Ings we can fit under one roof? We're here to help your small business any way we can.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has labeled the criminal activity in Spanish Town St. Catherine as a national emergency. At the same time, he strongly responded to criticisms of the government's legislative proposals to deter crime and violence. The Prime Minister was speaking at Wednesday's meeting of the National Disaster Risk Management Council. Andrea Chisholm has the details.
The crime and chaos in Spanish Town St. Catherine has the attention of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who grew up in the area.
It is not a place that we want to in any way get out of control. It has the potential, if it is not dealt with strongly and firmly and immediately, to claim many more lives. The level of organized criminal activity there is a national emergency.
He said citizens are living in fear. Some have even blocked roads in communities to prevent drive-by shootings.
A man coming home in the night from his work, can I get in? He had to come out of his vehicle to try and move the roadblock and was pounced upon. Luckily, they identified him as one of their own, living in the community, and allowed him. But can you imagine if it were a mistake?
And so the Prime Minister says government has to act swiftly to protect law-abiding citizens.
Citizens are at that point where they feel that they have to take their own security into their own hands. When there are viable legal changes that can be made. But in our liberal democracy, there are certain changes that do require the cooperation of the parliamentary opposition. And even if not required, it does require the support of civil society. I have expressed my views on a number of these matters, and I have been roundly chastised by those whose thinking have got us here in the first place. Let me say that their thinking will not get us out of these problems. It is time that we change and change our laws to match our problems.
The Prime Minister did not single out a specific legislation, but stakeholders have rejected a proposal under the New Bail Act to deny bail to those facing murder and gun charges. Rejection as well to a proposal in the new Firearms Act for a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison if found with an illegal weapon. Stakeholders argue that in both instances, the courts should make that decision. The JLP administration has also been criticized for the extended use of states of emergency, which require support from the parliamentary opposition.
Every move we make, there is some legal argument or some political argument being made about the preservation of rights. The rights of who? It is never a debate about the rights of the victims. We cannot allow an emergency or a disaster to change the liberal nature of our democracy. There's no greater Democrat than myself. But disorder will lead to anarchy.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
Perceived unrest within the ranks of the United Workers' Party has been acknowledged by the organization's leader as forming part of the democratic process of fielding differing opinions. The reflection on organizational function was issued in a press briefing hosted by the United Workers' Party earlier today. Commenting on the significance of internal review, Chasney outlined the process to be undertaken, noting ultimately the decision on leadership restructure remains in the hands of members. Internal amendment of the party's configuration, he notes, is expected to contribute to solving issues which led to the July 2021 defeat of the Chasney-led administration. According to the former Prime Minister, changes in leadership, regardless of the role held, should be expected, and such processes would not be impeded by his action. Opinions on the manner in which the organization will be led, he says, will ultimately be decided by vote.
Whatever my party decides, I will support. I've indicated to my party and to my colleagues after I had taken my break, I was satisfied that I had no anger in me. I was satisfied that I have no regrets in me. There's no resentment. And that I remain personally very committed to the goals that we had in pushing this country forward. And as such, that I would present myself to continue as the leader of the party. But I understand that ultimately the party has to be willing to accept that. And if the party decides it wants to go in a different direction, whatever that direction is, I will support it.
According to Chasney, despite the challenges faced, experience gleaned has inspired pride in the organization, even in the face of loss. According to the opposition leader, no intention to depart from the political party exists.
I take full responsibility for the loss, right? And while it may be true, I didn't do all of it by myself, the reality is I was a leader. I take full responsibility for it. The Labour Party did what they were supposed to do to win the election. But if you look at the numbers, this was not a blowaway. 51% of the popular vote, and only 51% of the people voted. They won by 6,000 votes. 3 constituencies, Gros-Islet, Vieux-Fort South, and Laborie, come almost to 5,300 votes. So 10 constituencies were won by 700 votes. The United Workers' Party failed in getting its voters out.
As to the continued involvement of the organization in fielding elected candidates, Chasney notes the document in question, expected to be presented in coming weeks, will provide a clearer picture of function and future.
The report hopefully will address those issues, and that's not just on the day of the election. That's why the report has to go back from the beginning and understand where is it that we lost the connection with some of our own supporters, and how do we make sure that that never happens again.
According to SLUelectoral.com, of a total 87,358 ballots cast in the 2021 national general election, 50.14% were in favor of the winning St. Lucia Labour Party, fielding 15 candidates. 42.91% of votes were amassed by the United Workers' Party, fielding 17 candidates, and 0.31 votes were cast in favor of the National Green Party. A total of 6.65% of the national vote was secured by independent candidates. Kiba Talium, NBC Prime.
Sticker shock at the pumps as millions of Americans fuel up for the summer vacation driving season. That's why President Joe Biden on Wednesday sent a letter to the 7 major U.S. oil companies, pressuring them to increase oil production to lower prices. Biden writes, "My administration is prepared to use all reasonable and appropriate federal government tools and emergency authorities to increase refinery capacity to ensure that every region of this country is appropriately supplied." Currently, U.S. oil companies are refining 1 million less barrels a day compared to pre-COVID levels. Western sanctions on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine means the U.S. is also not importing Russian oil. That's led to less supply as Americans return to work from the pandemic, driving up prices. The Biden administration hasn't revealed how it will increase supply. Instead, it accuses the oil companies of exploiting consumers for record profits. Biden hasn't ruled out a surtax on those gains. He's asked his energy secretary to hold an emergency meeting with oil producers.
We're not against profit. It's just that when you have 225% increase in profit year over year in Q1, I mean, it just tells you something else is going on.
The oil companies blame Biden for the problem, arguing his climate change agenda, ban on federal land drilling, and the cancellation of the Keystone Pipeline have led to oil refining strain. Biden can release oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to bring down prices. It's a tool he's already used, but it's a temporary fix.
This is simply an attempt to play to the voters to show that politicians are doing something about a market situation in which there's actually very little that they or anybody else can do.
Biden's letter comes one day after announcing he'll meet with the Saudi king next month to encourage his kingdom to also boost production. But the White House says the kingdom has provided no assurances it will do so. President Biden needs to contain fuel prices quickly. The longer Americans face hardship, the more likely they are to vote against his Democratic Party in upcoming November congressional elections. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, the White House.
KSC Trinity Challengers United dropped Davis Construction Lodge Patriots 6-0 on Tuesday night at the Warner Park as SKNFA Division 1 action continued. Goal scorers Clyde Herbert in the 8th minute, Lavid Adams in the 31st minute, Jody Walters in the 41st and 65th minutes, Dashawn Billinghurst in the 51st minute, and Adrian Tobias in the 62nd minute. Coach Orrin Hughes of Challengers reiterated his view from last week that if his team shows up, they get good results.
We know the caliber of players that we have, and once they put it out on the field, we know we will get the results. It's unfortunate that we would have started the early part of the season with men down, but even though we would have done that, at least we would have ended the season on a high. We have one more game to play, which is against Newton Grove.
As the season is winding down, Coach Hughes described the season as a difficult one, which was severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think the COVID pandemic played a very negative impact on the team. When we came back out, it was a period of time where players were not doing anything, and to get them back out to train and come together as a unit, it was a bit difficult to get them to do so.
The other match for the night between Sandy Point FC and Molineux was not played as Molineux did not have enough players to play the match. Meanwhile, in Division 1 action on Thursday, Elka Limited Security Forces were edged by Davis Construction Lodge Patriots 1-0, the goal coming from Kimbo Romney in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. Shane Davis of Lodge was sent off with a straight red card in the 24th minute. In the second match, Hard Times defeated Newton Ground 2-0. Siobhan Archibald scored in the 48th minute and Kyron Liebert in the 74th minute.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boone. Here is a look at the forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. For a more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.